That was insane. Whoa. Hey guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com, and today we're driving one of my favorite cars, the Ferrari F430. It's got a V8 engine, produces 483 horsepower, 343 foot-pounds of torque from a 4.3 liter, get it? F430, 4.3 liter V8. And that V8 is a high-revving, naturally aspirated V8, which we can see right here through the glass engine bay. And it revs up to 8,500 RPM. That's what I'm missing in the collection, a high revving V8. Used to have my E90 M3, and this car should be a blast to drive. If you follow the channel, you know that we recently did the convertible version. So the coupe version is lighter, and they both have the F1 trans. Special thanks to DCH Montclair Acura. They have at least 80 to 100 Glen cars in stock. None of these dealers have inventory. Well, they do. They have hundreds of cars in stock. Whether you want the new Integra in a 6-speed that we're testing, Ferraris, AMGs, 992 Porsches, they have it. This is probably one of the best looking Ferraris, I think, ever. I love how the 328 looks. Love how the F430 looks. I think it looks a lot better than the 360. Let me know in the comments below. So you have your Scuderia Shield. When this car came out, the first year in the United States here was model year 2005. Car and Driver tested this car and got a 3.5 second 0 to 60. If you know your car magazines, the 360 Modena, I think, was as fast as 4.3 seconds. This actually got under 4 seconds, well under 4 seconds. So it's still got performance that is competitive today. It's very hard to buy a 15-year-old car, 17-year-old car, for that matter, on some of them, and be competitive with today's modern supercars. How do you know what you bought? Right here, the F430. Now, obviously, the engine is in the middle, so that you have your air intakes here. Beautiful interior. I like black if it has a tan interior. Black is one of my favorite colors on a car. If it's not a bright color, I always pick black, like my GLA 45 AMG. Of course, black is hard to keep clean, but if you own this car, it's going to be garage. It's pollen season, so you're going to get a lot of that here. So if I remember correctly, standard on the F430, you can pick a yellow tachometer or red. So when you see any videos of the F430, you'll see one of these two tachometers. Now, this is actually an aftermarket head unit. It just had one of those base videos. Roads on Travel just did an F430 stick. They weren't able to drive it, and you'll see the standard radio there. Great video. All right, so let's go through some of the controls. So you press R to get in reverse, and auto, this is almost, it's not a toggle switch, but by pressing it, it'll go back and forth between automatic, or you have to shift for yourself. Now you have the gears, and they are affixed, the paddle shifters, they're carbon fiber, and they're affixed to the steering column. So as I turn the wheel, it'll actually move. It won't move, so I have to know where those paddles are. So Lamborghini does that, Ferrari does that. I think McLaren did it too on my 570S. I always love the vents here. I thought they were so cool. I just love this interior. You have all your buttons here to let the gas go, open the gas gap. You actually have a rear defroster, and then obviously your front trunk. Beautiful stitching and leather here. You have your stereo, but you're not buying this for the stereo. You're listening for the engine. Engine start button, but it's not, it's just like the S2000. So I'm going to put the key and turn it and then hit the engine start button. That's how it was old school. Now you keep your key in your pocket and just hit the engines. And now here we can change different levels of traction and stability control. We have a snow mode, snow and ice mode, a rain mode, a sport mode, a race mode, and we can go from there. Mirror controls. Anytime you get on a car, you should set your mirrors. You set your mirrors here. You can do left and right, and toggle the mirror switches, your hazards, and your parking lights. You have a little outlet here for your radar detector. This will hold your phone or your sunglasses. Carbon fiber, actually it's leather, parking brake. So let's start her up. We'll close it. Air conditioning works fine. There's a lot of room actually in here. I'm 6 feet tall, 180 pounds. I have plenty of room in this car. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert the key and fire up the engine. It's a little hard to see the keyhole, so I'm going to turn it. And now the accessories are on. And now fire it up. Check engine lights okay. We're in sport mode. We'll take some curves in a few minutes and we'll go into race mode. Again, F430, what does that mean? A F430, 4.3 liter V8, revs up to 8,500 RPM. And how does it make that horsepower? By revving up. We actually have gas. That's actually your gas gauge there. Usually the cars I test for a dealership, they're not going to keep much gas in there, so usually we're in the last bar. This is almost a full tank, so that's exciting. I have a couple cars to film today, a Ferrari FF, an Integra 6-speed manual. I don't know what you'll see first, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I do at least 2 videos a week. Sometime I'll do a third, so make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. Like and share the video so our channel can grow, and always leave a comment below. Let me know, leave a comment what you want me to renew next, and I'll try to find it. We have over 1,000 different reviews, the most of any YouTube channel. All right, so now to engage. So if we press auto, which we're in right now, you see a little auto there? We still have to pull the paddle to get into first gear. That's the only time you have to pull it. I think if you pull 2 paddles, you go into neutral, and then you would hit the reverse button. There's no reverse camera here. This is beeping to let us know we're in reverse. We're gonna get out of reverse, do auto again. We're gonna get out of reverse and go into first gear, which we just pressed the button for. We're still in auto, so what that's gonna do is that's gonna shift for us. And the shifts could be rough or smooth, depending on we're in a comfort mode or a sport or race mode. So we're gonna start out in auto right now in the parking lot just to creep. We have all our gauges here for pressures and temperatures, which every sports car should have. So remember, it's a single clutch transmission. This car is low miles. It only has 16,000 miles. All right, so I love this steering wheel. You got carbon fiber on top. You got a red mark where the center is. And we're gonna get out of auto mode and we're gonna go into manual mode. Now I have to shift the gears myself. It will not shift for me. All right, let's go. Now, I did a F430 convertible over the winter, if you follow the channel, and somebody who owns one of them, who said he's a manual guy through and through, but he just bought one with the F1 transmission, because obviously the price difference. I think on Bring a Trailer, somebody told me, I don't know if it's true, an F430 manual was bid up to like $288,000. So the buy would be these F1s because the manuals are just out of control in prices. So this gentleman who responded and made a comment on the F430 F1 convertible I tested over the winter said that he's a diehard manual guy, but he actually likes the single clutch in here. And he told me I shouldn't lift when I shift. So we'll test that out. We're gonna go to some twisties in a minute here after this light, and then we can see how that develops. I know for the Lamborghinis, for the Gallardo, for the E-Gear, you can, and SMG, even BMWs, you can smooth out the shifts by lifting when you shift. All right, so we can go right on red here. So now it'll put us into first gear. Even though we're in manual mode, it did downshift us to first when we came to a stop. See, yeah, see, the shifts are a lot. I'm going to disagree with him. I think the shifts are a lot smoother. All right, so we're going to go into race mode, which will kind of take all the nannies off, and we get race here. This is a fun car, let me tell you. Usually I'm a diehard manual guy, but when I take into value, I would have no problem in getting this F1 transmission at all. After this, for the 458, they went to a dual clutch. And I'm not that crazy. I'm probably the only one about the 458's dual clutch. All right, so we're in race mode here. Now everything is a little sharper. Throttle response, we hear more sounds. Downshifts are much quicker. We'll look for a little straightaway here. Whoa, that was insane. Now the downshift there was pretty decent, it really was. All right, now that was so much fun. We're gonna have to take those roads again. But we'll put it in sport mode this time and see how she does. All right, guys, let's take those twisties again because there was so much fun with this car. Oh, wow, the sound. The sound. We are driving in sport mode right now. Whoa. My camera bag is flying everywhere. But I don't care. I'm driving a Ferrari F430. This car is way more nimble than you would think it would be. And honestly, this car is not about straight line speed, even though it is 3.5 seconds to 60 with this transmission. This is really about the turns and going up and down through the gears. And it's probably the best single clutch transmission I've ever driven. Light years better than BMW's SMG. Now the ride is definitely on the stiffer side. You do feel every bump in the road, but I would say, you know, a modern AMG is probably even stiffer than this. And remember, we're in sport mode, which is really how you should drive this car. Be honest with yourself how you're going to drive it. You're not using it to commute. You're not sitting in Route 17 traffic. That's a New Jersey reference. But this is going to be, you're going to be enjoying with your significant other, with one of your kids, whoever your favorite kid is, should be in this passenger seat. And you could just have a blast. I would definitely buy this car. I could care less that it has an F1 transmission. Because if I got a manual, and I can't afford a manual, if that's what prices really are in the 250 to 300 range, you buy a car in that range, every mile you're going to put on is going to devalue it, right? So there's no way in the world that you're going to drive and enjoy that car. So I would just get an F1 and honestly drive the heck out of it. All right, so now we're driving in manual mode, which I always prefer to do with paddle shift cars. We're going to actually put it in auto and see how it shifts for itself. My pet peeve in any video is people just drive it in the auto mode and don't use the paddles. Well, they gave you the paddles for a reason. If you can't control the own gears yourself with a stick shift, you should at least control it yourself with the paddles. All right, so actually, in sport mode, it's holding the gear. It didn't upshift until I totally came off the gas there. Yeah, this transmission is not bad, guys. It really isn't. As I said that, there's a little jerk, but still, overall, I could definitely live with this transmission. This is, to me, driving, you can see my video review on the Lamborghini Gallardo with the e-gear. This is 10 times better than that. It's not perfect, but it's 10 times better than that. All right, so that's our drive in the F430. So another thing I should comment, it's way more nimble than the convertible. Obviously, it weighs less. It's sharper handling because it has that connected roof. And for me, it would definitely be the coupe over the convertible, but I could see why you'd want the other. I could definitely see one of these in my garage one day, and it's a car I really, really like. So special thanks to DCH Acura in Verona, New Jersey for providing the car as always. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.